The massive space station called Nexus Prime floated in the empty darkness between three suns. Ships from every corner of the galaxy came here to trade. The station was so big that it had its own weather system inside. Rain fell in some sections, while snow covered others. Millions of beings lived and worked here, buying and selling things that most people could never imagine. Captain Jake Martinez walked through the crowded marketplace with his two crew members. Lisa Thompson carried a heavy bag of tools while Paul Rodriguez pushed a cart loaded with boxes. They were humans, and everyone could tell just by looking at them. Their ship, the New Horizons, was small and old compared to the sleek vessels that belonged to other species. The marketplace buzzed with activity. Tall, blue-skinned Zentarians sold weapons that could cut through solid rock with beams of light. 6 armed Catharians offered communication devices that could send messages across the galaxy in seconds. Crystalline beings that looked like living diamonds displayed gravity. Machines that could make objects float in the air. Jake stopped at an empty booth space and pulled out his credit chip. The rental fee took almost half of their remaining money. Lisa looked worried as she watched the numbers on the payment screen. "Are you sure about this, Jake?" she asked. "We spent everything we had just to get here." "We have to try," Jake said. "Earth needs this trade route to work." Paul started unpacking their goods. He pulled out simple hand tools, wind-up toys, mechanical clocks, and basic electronics. Compared to the amazing alien technology around them, their items looked like junk from a museum. A group of Arcturus traders walked by and started laughing. One of them picked up a hammer and showed it to his friends. "Look at this primitive thing," he said in the common galactic language. "They still use muscle power to drive metal spikes." Another alien examined a wind-up toy robot. "How backward can one species be? This requires manual energy input just to move." Jake felt his face turn red, but he kept unpacking. Lisa put a hand on his shoulder. "Ignore them," she said. "We knew this would happen." As the day went on, more aliens stopped by their booth. Most of them laughed or shook their heads before walking away. A few picked up items out of curiosity, but nobody bought anything. Jake watched other merchants making sale after sale while his booth remained empty. The Zentarian at the next booth sold a plasma cutter for 5,000 credits. The buyer was excited about its ability to cut through any material, but an hour later the device stopped working. The Zentarian explained that it needed special nano repair modules that cost another 1,000 credits. "This happens sometimes," the seller said with a shrug. "The quantum matrix gets unstable. You need to recalibrate the molecular stabilizers." Jake watched this happen 3 more times during the day. Each time, the plasma cutter broke down and needed expensive repairs. The buyers seemed used to this problem. They just paid the extra costs and moved on. Lisa noticed the same pattern everywhere. "Look at that hover cart," she whispered to Jake. "It's been in the repair station 4 times today." The hover cart belonged to a Catharian merchant who was getting frustrated. Each repair took an hour and cost hundreds of credits. The cart used complex anti-gravity systems that required constant adjustment. "Why don't they just use wheels?" Paul asked. Lisa laughed. "Because wheels are too simple for them. They think simple means stupid." Late in the afternoon, a different kind of alien approached their booth. She was tall and thin with gray skin and large eyes. Her name was Dr. Zexthara, and she was a Valkyrian archaeologist who studied ancient civilizations. "Excuse me," she said in perfect human English. "May I examine this device?" She pointed to a Swiss Army knife that Jake had placed on the counter. Jake picked it up and opened the various tools. He showed her the blade, the scissors, the can opener, and the screwdriver. "This is interesting," Dr. Zexthara said. "Multiple functions in one compact unit, and it requires no power source?" "That's right," Jake said. "It's all mechanical. Springs and hinges. It can work for decades without breaking." The alien studied the knife carefully. She tested each tool and examined the metal construction. "The engineering is quite elegant," she said. "Simple but effective. How much does it cost?" 20 credits, Jake said, trying not to sound too eager. Dr. Zexthara paid without haggling. She was the first customer of the day. As she walked away, Jake noticed that other aliens were watching. Word was starting to spread about the strange human booth. A mining captain named Vorth approached next. He was a short, stocky alien with thick arms and a permanent scowl. His crew worked in the dangerous asteroid fields where equipment failures could mean death. "I heard you have tools that don't break," he said. Paul showed him a basic crowbar. "This is steel," he explained. "Humans have used tools like this for thousands of years. No electronics, no power source, no complex parts. Just solid metal." Vorth tested the crowbar's weight and balance. "How often does it need repair?" "Never," Paul said. "Unless you lose it or melt it down, this will work forever." The mining captain's eyes widened. In his business, equipment broke down constantly. His crew carried expensive repair kits because alien tools failed so often in harsh conditions. "What about maintenance?" Vorth asked. "You can oil it once in a while to prevent rust," Paul said, "but that's not required. Just recommended." Vorth bought 6 crowbars and asked about other hand tools. Soon he had purchased hammers, wrenches, and even a manual drill. The total came to over 1,000 credits. As news of the sale spread, more aliens began to visit the human booth. A crystalline merchant named Shardake became fascinated by a mechanical clock. He watched the gears turn and listened to the steady ticking. "This keeps accurate time using only springs and metal parts?" he asked. "That's right," Lisa said. "Wind it up once a day and it will run for years." Shardake compared this to his own timepiece, which used quantum resonance to measure temporal fluctuations. It was incredibly accurate but needed constant recalibration, and cost 50,000 credits to replace when it broke. "How much for the clock?" he asked. 100 credits, Lisa said. The crystalline being bought 3 clocks and asked if they had any larger ones. Paul showed him a grandfather clock that they had brought as a display piece. Shardake paid 2,000 credits for it on the spot. By evening, Jake's booth had a small crowd around it. Aliens who had laughed at their goods in the morning were now asking serious questions. Dr. Zexthara returned with several colleagues who wanted to study human engineering. "Your species has a unique approach to technology," she said. "You prioritize longevity over complexity? This is very rare in the galaxy." Jake looked around at the other booths. Everywhere he saw the same pattern. Complex alien devices that broke down regularly and required expensive repairs. The sellers made more money from maintenance than from initial sales. "We learned to build things that last," he said. "On Earth, we don't have unlimited resources. If something breaks, we have to fix it ourselves or do without." Dr. Zexthara nodded thoughtfully. "Perhaps that limitation made your species wiser than the rest of us." As the marketplace began to close for the day, Jake counted their earnings. They had made enough to cover their expenses and buy supplies for the next day. More importantly, they had proven that human technology had value in the galactic market. Lisa packed up their remaining goods while Paul cleaned the booth. "Tomorrow should be interesting," she said. "Word is spreading fast about our stuff." Jake watched the alien. Merchants struggling with their broken equipment. Hover carts that needed constant repair. Weapons that overheated after a few shots. Communication devices that required daily recalibration. The galaxy was full of amazing technology that barely worked. "Maybe we're not as primitive as they think," he said. The next morning, Jake woke up to find a message waiting on his communication device. Captain Vorth from the Arcturus Mining Consortium wanted to meet him before the marketplace opened. Jake dressed quickly and walked through the quiet corridors of Nexus Prime to the meeting place. Vorth was waiting in a small cafe with 3 other aliens. They all looked tired and worried. Jake sat down at their table and ordered coffee, one of the few Earth drinks that aliens had learned to enjoy. "Your tools saved my crew yesterday," Vorth said without any greeting. "We had a cave-in on Asteroid 7. Our plasma cutters failed in the dust storm, but your crowbars worked perfectly. My men dug through solid rock using nothing but human steel." The other aliens nodded in agreement. One of them, a tall Cytherian named Flex, spoke up. Our equipment breaks down every day in the mines. We spend more money on repairs than we make from mining. The problem is complexity, said the third alien, a Zentarian engineer called Buzz. Our tools have thousands of moving parts. In harsh conditions, something always goes wrong. Jake listened as they described their daily struggles. Mining equipment that stopped working when dust got into the quantum processors. Cutting tools that overheated after 10 minutes of use. Communication devices that failed when they were needed. We need simple tools that work, Vorth said. How many crowbars can you supply? How many do you need? Jake asked. 500 for my main operation. Maybe more for the other mining stations. Jake nearly choked on his coffee. 500 crowbars would be worth 50,000 credits. That was more money than his ship had made in the past year. I'll need to contact Earth, he said. But yes, we can supply that many. The aliens looked relieved. They had been losing money every day because their equipment failed so often. Human tools might be simple, but they worked when nothing else did. After the meeting, Jake hurried back to his booth. Lisa and Paul were already setting up for the day. He told them about the big order from the mining consortium. 50,000. Credits? Lisa said in amazement. That's enough to buy a new ship. Or upgrade our current one, Paul added. We could install better engines and larger cargo holds. As the marketplace opened, Jake noticed that more aliens were heading toward their booth. Word about human technology had spread overnight. The first customer was Dr. Zexthara, who brought 2 colleagues with her. These are Dr. Kimmel and Professor Quinn, she said. They study engineering from different worlds. They want to understand how human technology works. Jake showed them a simple transistor radio. He turned it on and found a music station broadcasting from a nearby planet. The aliens listened in wonder as clear sound came from the small device. This receives electromagnetic signals across space using only basic electronics? Dr. Kimmel asked. That's right, Jake said. No quantum entanglement, no molecular resonance. Just simple circuits that have worked for over a century? Professor Quinn examined the radio carefully. On our world, we use thought pattern receivers that cost 100,000 credits. But they break down if you think too hard while using them. The aliens bought 6 radios and asked about other communication devices. Lisa showed them a walkie-talkie system that could work over short distances without any infrastructure. No satellites needed? Dr. Zexthara asked. None, Lisa said. Just point-to-point radio waves. They work anywhere. As the day continued, more and more aliens came to the booth. Many of them had heard about the mining consortium's order and wanted to see what human technology could do for them. A ship captain named Corex approached with a problem. His cargo vessel used complex hover-loading systems that broke down twice a week. Each repair cost thousands of credits and took hours to complete. Paul showed him a simple pulley system with metal cables and manual winches. This can lift the same weight, he said, but it will work for decades without breaking. Corex tested the pulley by lifting a heavy crate. The system worked smoothly and quietly. How much maintenance does it need? Oil the pulleys once a month. Paul said, replace the cables when they wear out. That's maybe once every 10 years. The alien captain could barely believe it. His hover system needed daily adjustments and weekly repairs. The human system would save him thousands of credits per year. I'll take 10 complete pulley systems, he said. By lunchtime, Jake had sold more goods than in his entire previous week. But the most interesting moment came when a young crystalline engineer named Spark approached the booth. I heard you have something called duct tape, she said. Lisa pulled out a roll of gray tape and demonstrated how it worked. She tore off a piece and stuck it to the counter. Then she showed how it could seal cracks, hold things together, and even repair small holes? This adhesive works on any surface? Spark asked. Most surfaces, Lisa said. Metal, plastic, fabric, even some alien materials. Spark's crystalline body began to glow with excitement. Yesterday, my hovercart broke down. 3 different repair techniques failed. May I try your tape? They walked over to the hover cart, which was still sitting in the repair station. The problem was a cracked power coupling that kept losing connection. Spark wrapped duct tape around the coupling, sealing the crack completely. The hover cart started immediately and ran without any problems. Other aliens gathered around to watch in amazement. A simple piece of tape had fixed what advanced quantum repair systems could not. How much does this tape cost? Spark asked. 10 credits per roll, Lisa said. Spark bought 20 rolls and paid extra for Lisa to teach her how to use the tape properly. Within an hour, news of the duct tape miracle had spread through the entire marketplace. Jake found himself surrounded by aliens who wanted to buy tape. He sold his entire supply in less than 2 hours. Orders kept coming in faster than he could write them down. We need more inventory, Paul said. A lot more. Jake sent an emergency message to Earth requesting immediate shipment of tools, tape, radios, and other simple goods. The response came back within hours. Earth Command was sending 3 cargo ships loaded with basic technology. As the day ended, Jake counted their earnings. They had made more money in one day than in the previous month. But more importantly, they had proven that human technology filled a real need in the galactic market. Dr. Zexthara stopped by as they were closing. You've started something important here, she said. For too long, we've believed that complex means better. Your species shows us that simple can be superior. We learn from necessity, Jake said. When you have limited resources, you build things to last. The alien archaeologist nodded thoughtfully. Perhaps scarcity taught your species wisdom that abundance denied the rest of us. As Jake walked back to his ship, he noticed something interesting. Throughout the marketplace, aliens were using human tools. The Zentarian with the plasma cutter was using duct tape to hold his equipment together. The Catharian merchant had replaced his hover cart with a simple wheeled cart that actually worked better. Lisa and Paul were already planning for tomorrow. We need to organize better, Lisa said. Maybe set up a proper distribution system. And training, Paul added. Some of these aliens don't know how to use simple tools properly. Jake looked out at the busy marketplace. For the first time since arriving at Nexus Prime, he felt optimistic about the future. Human technology might be simple, but it worked. In a galaxy full of complex gadgets that constantly broke down, that was exactly what everyone needed. Tomorrow, we start building something bigger, he said. Not just a booth, but a real business. The 3 humans began planning their expansion, unaware that their success had already caught the attention of much larger forces in the galaxy. 3 cargo ships from Earth arrived at Nexus Prime carrying tons of human technology. Jake watched through the viewing port as the massive vessels docked at the station. His small booth was about to become something much bigger. Administrator Quellonox of the Galactic Trade Federation was also watching the ships arrive. He was a tall, thin alien with purple skin and 4 arms. His job was to keep the marketplace running smoothly, and he was worried about what the humans might do to upset the established order. Sir, his assistant said, the human sales have increased by 3,000% in 1 week. Other merchants are complaining about unfair competition. Quellonox studied the reports on his desk. The numbers were alarming. Humans were selling simple tools for cheap prices, while alien merchants struggled to sell their expensive, complex devices. If this continued, it could destroy the entire galactic technology market. Send a message to the Consortium of Advanced Technologies, he said. Tell them we need to discuss the human problem. Meanwhile, Jake was meeting with the captains of the 3 cargo ships. Captain Susan Blake commanded the Liberty Bell, the largest of the 3 vessels. She was a tough woman who had spent years trading in dangerous sectors of the galaxy. Earth Command is taking this seriously, she said. They've authorized us to establish a permanent trading post here on Nexus Prime. Jake felt excited and nervous at the same time. A permanent trading post would mean much more responsibility. What about the other merchants? Some of them are already angry about our success. Let them be angry, said Captain Rick Stone of the 2nd ship. We're not cheating anyone. We're just selling better products. The third captain, Maria Santos, was more cautious. I've heard rumors that some of the big alien corporations are planning to cause trouble for us. We need to be careful. They decided to rent a large warehouse space in the commercial district. Lisa would manage the technical side, teaching aliens how to use human tools properly. Paul would handle sales and distribution. Jake would negotiate with alien buyers and deal with any political problems. Dr. Zexthara arrived as they were unloading the cargo ships. She had brought a team of researchers who wanted to study human engineering methods. With her was a new friend, Commander Rexula of the Hegemony Fleet. Commander Rexula has been testing your tools in military applications, Dr. Zexthara explained. The results are very interesting. Rexula was a battle-scarred alien who had fought in dozens of space conflicts. He looked like a walking tank with thick armor plating for skin. Your wrench saved my ship last week, he said to Jake. We were in combat when our main computer crashed. All our quantum spanners stopped working, but your simple wrench kept the engines running. The commander explained how human backup systems had proven their worth in battle. While alien technology failed under stress, human tools kept working. His engineering teams had started carrying human toolkits as emergency equipment. The problem with our technology is that it's too smart, Rexula said. When the smart parts break, the whole system fails. Your tools are too simple to break. Jake began to understand something important. Human technology wasn't just reliable, it was predictable. When aliens bought a quantum spanner, they never knew when it might stop working. When they bought a human wrench, they knew it would work the same way for decades. The new warehouse opened with a grand ceremony. Hundreds of aliens came to see the expanded Human Technology Center. Jake hired several alien assistants to help with translations and cultural differences. Dr. Helen Carter arrived on the next supply ship. She was a brilliant engineer who specialized in what she called appropriate technology. Her job was to teach aliens how to choose the right tool for each job. The key is matching the technology to the need, she explained to a group of alien engineers. You don't need a quantum-powered hammer to drive a nail. A simple steel hammer works better and costs less. Dr. Carter set up training classes where aliens could learn to use human tools. Many of them had never used anything that wasn't computerized. Learning to operate manual equipment was like discovering a lost art. Spark, the young crystalline engineer, became one of Dr. Carter's best students. She learned to use hand tools, mechanical systems, and even basic electronics. Her crystalline body could interface with human technology in ways that surprised everyone. Your tools make me think differently, Spark told Dr. Carter. Instead of asking how to make something more complex, I ask how to make it simpler. The success of the Human Technology Center created unexpected problems. Other human merchants started arriving at Nexus Prime, hoping to copy Jake's success. Some of them sold low-quality goods that broke easily, damaging the reputation of human technology. Captain Blake called a meeting of all the human merchants. We need to work together, she said. If we flood the market with junk, we'll ruin everything. They formed the Terran Technology Guild with quality standards and training programs. Only merchants who met their standards could use the guild's certification mark. Aliens learned to look for the mark as a guarantee of quality, but the guild's success attracted the wrong kind of attention. The Consortium of Advanced Technologies was a powerful group that controlled much of the galaxy's high-tech industry. They made trillions of credits selling complex devices that needed constant maintenance. Veximer Prime, the CEO of the consortium, was not happy about the human invasion. He was a massive alien who looked like a cross between a spider and a computer. His body was half organic and half machine, with dozens of mechanical arms and glowing electronic eyes. These humans are destroying our market, he said to his board of directors. Their primitive tools are making our products look overpriced and unreliable. The board members, representing dozens of alien corporations, agreed that something had to be done. They controlled the patents on most galactic technology and had grown rich from selling complex solutions to simple problems. We need to discredit human technology, said one board member. Show the galaxy that simple tools are dangerous and backward. Vexamer Prime began planning a campaign to destroy the human technology trade. He hired the best marketing agencies in the galaxy to spread propaganda about the dangers of primitive human tools. He bribed news reporters to write articles about how simple technology was holding back galactic progress. The first attacks were subtle. News stories appeared claiming that human tools were unsafe for advanced alien species. Scientific papers were published arguing that complex technology was always superior to simple solutions. Jake noticed the change in attitude when some of his regular customers stopped coming to the warehouse. A few aliens even returned tools they had already bought, claiming they were too primitive for their needs. "They're trying to make us look bad," Lisa said after reading one of the propaganda articles. "They're saying that using human tools is like going backward in time." Paul was more angry than worried. "Let them try. Our tools work and theirs don't. People will figure that out." But Jake knew the situation was more serious than his friends realized. The alien corporations had unlimited money and political influence. They could make life very difficult for human merchants if they wanted to. The conflict escalated when a Zentarian space station reported a major system failure. The station's life support had stopped working, and the crew barely escaped with their lives. The news media claimed that human electrical components had caused the malfunction. Jake investigated the incident and discovered that the station had never used any human technology. The failure was caused by a defective alien quantum processor, but the truth was buried in the official report. The consortium had successfully blamed humans for an alien technology failure. "This is just the beginning," Dr. Zexthara warned Jake. "They will try to destroy your reputation before they try to destroy your business." Jake realized that the humans were no longer just selling tools. They were fighting a war for the future of technology in the galaxy. The attacks on human technology became more serious every day. Jake woke up to find that 3 of his cargo ships had been sabotaged during the night. Someone had planted explosives in the engines, making them look like accidents caused by human mechanical systems. "This isn't random," Captain Blake said as they examined the wreckage. "Someone wanted to make it look like our technology caused the explosions." The news reports spread quickly across the galaxy. Headlines screamed about the dangers of primitive human engineering. Videos showed the burning ships with experts claiming that manual systems were too dangerous for space travel. Jake knew the truth. The explosions had been caused by military-grade plasma charges, not mechanical failures, but proving it would be difficult. The consortium had covered their tracks well. Lisa was working in the warehouse when a group of security officers arrived. They wore the uniforms of the Galactic Trade Federation and carried official-looking documents. "We're here to conduct a safety inspection," the lead officer said. "There have been reports of dangerous equipment being sold without proper permits." The inspection lasted 6 hours. The officers examined every tool, every piece of equipment, and every safety manual. They found nothing wrong, but they seized several items anyway, claiming they needed further testing. "This is harassment," Paul said angrily. "They're trying to shut us down." Jake realized that the consortium was using the government to attack human businesses. Administrator Quelinox had been bribed or threatened into cooperation. The Trade Federation was now working against the humans instead of protecting fair trade. Dr. Zexthara brought disturbing news from the academic community. Several research institutes have published papers claiming that human technology is holding back galactic progress, she said. "They're saying that simple tools make aliens lazy and stupid." The propaganda campaign was working. Many aliens who had been buying human tools started having second thoughts. Sales dropped by 50% in 1 week. Some merchants even returned their inventory, afraid of being associated with backward technology, but not everyone believed the lies. Commander Rexula arrived at the warehouse with a squad of his best soldiers. They were all carrying human tools and wearing equipment that mixed alien and human technology. "My engineers have been studying your design philosophy," the commander said. They've created hybrid systems that combine alien advancement with human reliability. Rexula showed Jake a new weapon that his team had developed. It used alien energy technology but had human mechanical backup systems. When the energy components failed, the weapon could still fire using traditional chemical propellants. "This saved my life yesterday," Rexula said. "We were fighting pirates when my main weapon overloaded. The human backup system kept working, but everything else failed." The commander's support gave Jake hope, but the situation was getting worse. The consortium had hired mercenary groups to attack human supply ships. 3 vessels were destroyed in pirate raids that were actually coordinated attacks. Jake called an emergency meeting of the Terran Technology Guild, all the human merchants. On Nexus Prime gathered in the warehouse to discuss the crisis. "They're trying to destroy us," Captain Blake said. "We need to fight back." "How do we fight corporations that control half the galaxy?" asked Captain Stone. "They have unlimited money and political power." Dr. Carter had been quietly working on a solution. "We don't fight them directly," she said. "We prove that our technology is better." She had discovered something important about alien manufacturing. The consortium's companies were all copying each other's designs, making their products more and more complex. They had forgotten the basic principles of good engineering. "Look at this," Dr. Carter said, showing them a broken alien power tool. "It has over 10,000 components. When any one of them fails, the whole tool stops working." She compared it to a human drill that had only 50 moving parts. "Our drill is 90% more reliable because it has 90% fewer things that can break." Jake realized that Dr. Carter was right. The aliens had become so focused on making things complex that they had forgotten how to make things that worked. The breakthrough came when Spark made an unexpected discovery. She had been experimenting with human and alien technology, trying to find ways to combine them. While working with a simple human gear system, she realized something amazing. "Your mechanical systems are actually more efficient than our quantum systems," she told Jake excitedly. "A human bicycle uses less energy to move a person than our hoverbikes." Spark had calculated the energy costs of different transportation methods. Human bicycles required only the energy from food. Alien hoverbikes needed complex power systems that consumed massive amounts of electricity. "We've been so impressed with our own technology that we never asked if it was actually better," Spark said. "Your species asks the right questions." The young crystalline engineer had been secretly working with other aliens who were tired of constantly repairing their equipment. They formed an underground network of engineers who wanted to learn human design principles. "We call ourselves the Practical Technology Movement," Spark explained. "We believe that the best solution is the one that works reliably, not the one that looks most impressive." The movement was growing rapidly. Aliens from dozens of species were joining groups that studied human engineering methods. They met in secret because the consortium had made it dangerous to openly support human technology. Jake decided to take a risk. He arranged a public demonstration where human and alien technology would be tested side by side. The event would be broadcast across the galaxy, giving everyone a chance to see the truth. The consortium tried to stop the demonstration. They bribed officials, threatened broadcasters, and spread rumors that the event was a trap. But Commander Rexula used his military influence to protect the demonstration. "This is about military preparedness," he told the authorities. "We need to know which technology works best in combat situations." The night before the demonstration, Jake received a threatening message from Veximur Prime. The consortium leader warned that humans who continued to sell primitive technology would face serious consequences. "We've invested trillions of credits in advanced technology," the message said. "We will not let a backward species destroy our civilization." Jake showed the message to Dr. Zexthara, who was shocked by the direct threat. "He's admitting that this is about money, not about what's best for the galaxy," she said. The demonstration was scheduled for the next day in the main plaza of Nexus Prime. Thousands of aliens had already gathered to watch. News crews from across the galaxy were setting up their equipment. Jake checked his inventory one more time. They had tools, electronics, mechanical devices, and even some experimental hybrid technology that combined human and alien designs. Everything was ready for the most important test in human history. "Are you nervous?" Lisa asked as they prepared for the big day. "Terrified," Jake admitted, but also excited. "Tomorrow we prove that simple can be better than complex." Paul was confident. "Our tools work. The demonstration will show everyone the truth." As they closed the warehouse for the night, Jake looked around at the human technology that had changed his life. Simple tools that had started a revolution across the galaxy. Tomorrow would determine whether that revolution would continue or be destroyed by corporate greed. The fate of human technology, and perhaps the entire galactic economy, would be decided in a few hours. The main plaza of Nexus Prime was packed with thousands of aliens from every corner of the galaxy. News crews had set up cameras while vendors sold food and souvenirs. The atmosphere felt like a festival, but Jake knew this was the most important day in human history. On one side of the plaza, the Consortium of Advanced Technologies had arranged a display of their most impressive devices. Quantum processors that could think faster than biological brains, plasma tools that could cut through any material, gravity manipulators that could lift entire buildings. On the other side, Jake and his team had set up a simple table with basic human tools: hammers, wrenches, hand drills, and mechanical devices that looked primitive compared to the alien technology. Vexamer Prime arrived in a floating throne surrounded by bodyguards. His mechanical body gleamed with advanced technology as he addressed the crowd through amplified speakers. "Citizens of the galaxy," he announced, "we are here to demonstrate the superiority of advanced technology over primitive tools. These humans would have us return to the dark ages of manual labor and simple machines." The crowd murmured in agreement. Many aliens still believed that complex meant better. Jake felt nervous as he realized how many people were against him. Dr. Zexthara stepped forward as the neutral judge of the competition. She had designed a series of tests that would compare the reliability, efficiency, and practical value of both technologies. "The first test is durability," she announced. "Both teams will demonstrate how long their tools can work under harsh conditions." The consortium's representative activated a quantum cutting torch. The device hummed with energy as it sliced through a metal plate in seconds. The crowd was impressed by the smooth, precise cut, but then Jake picked up a simple hacksaw. He began cutting through an identical metal plate using nothing but muscle power. The cut was rougher, but the saw kept working steadily. After 10 minutes, both tools had cut through their targets. "Now we test what happens under stress," Dr. Zexthara said. She had prepared a chamber filled with dust, electromagnetic interference, and extreme temperatures. The quantum torch was inserted first. Within seconds, its delicate sensors began to malfunction. The device sparked and died, unable to cope with the harsh environment. The hacksaw was tested next. Jake continued cutting through metal while dust swirled around him. The temperature rose to dangerous levels, but the simple steel tool kept working. The crowd began to murmur in surprise. "The quantum torch requires controlled conditions," Vexamer Prime explained quickly. "It's designed for precision work, not crude applications," but the damage was done. Everyone could see that the expensive alien tool had failed while the cheap human tool continued working. The second test was efficiency. The consortium demonstrated a hover cart that could carry heavy loads without touching the ground. The anti-gravity system was impressive, floating silently through the air. Paul wheeled out a simple hand truck with metal wheels and a mechanical lever system. It looked ancient compared to the hover cart, but it could carry the same weight using only human muscle power. Energy consumption test. Dr. Zexthara announced. The hover cart required a massive power cell that cost 500 credits and lasted only 8 hours. The hand truck required no external power at all. Paul demonstrated how the mechanical advantage of the lever system made heavy lifting easy. Dr. Carter stood up to explain the science. "The hover cart uses enormous amounts of energy to fight gravity," she said. The hand truck works with gravity using simple physics. Which one is really more advanced? The crowd began to understand the point. Alien technology often used brute force to solve problems that humans solved with clever engineering. The third test was maintenance and repair. A consortium engineer brought out a plasma welder that had stopped working. The device required specialized diagnostic equipment replacement, quantum matrices, and molecular realignment procedures. The repair took 2 hours and cost over 1,000 credits. Lisa demonstrated the same test with a simple electric welder. When it stopped working, she opened the case and replaced a burnt fuse. The repair took 5 minutes and cost 1 credit. But our welder is much more powerful, the consortium engineer protested. Is it? Lisa asked. She had both welders cut through the same thickness of metal. The results were identical. The plasma welder was more complex, but it wasn't actually better. At welding, the crowd was starting to see the pattern. Alien technology was often impressive but not necessarily superior. The final test was the most important. Dr. Zexthara had prepared a simulated emergency where both teams had to repair a damaged life support system. Lives depended on getting the system working quickly. The consortium team brought out their most advanced repair equipment: quantum scanners, molecular manipulators, and artificial intelligence systems. But when they tried to diagnose the problem, their equipment kept giving conflicting readings. The AI systems couldn't agree on what was wrong. Jake's team used simple tools and basic troubleshooting methods. They traced electrical circuits with a multimeter, tested mechanical connections by hand, and used their eyes to look for obvious problems. Within minutes, they found a loose wire that was causing the malfunction. A loose wire? Vexamer Prime sounded outraged. Your primitive methods missed all the complex possibilities. Sometimes the simple answer is the right answer, Jake said. He reconnected the wire and the life support system came back online. The crowd fell silent as they realized what had happened. The humans had solved a life-threatening problem in minutes while the aliens were still arguing about quantum fluctuations and molecular probability matrices. Commander Rexula stood up in the audience. I've seen this in battle, he announced. When lives are at stake, simple tools work better than complex systems. Spark joined him, along with dozens of other aliens from the practical technology movement. We've been studying human engineering for months, she said. They're not primitive. They're efficient. Dr. Zexthara addressed the crowd with her final judgment. The tests show that human technology excels in reliability, simplicity, and practical application. While alien technology is more advanced in theory, human technology is often more advanced in practice. The news crews broadcast her words across the galaxy. Within hours, the demonstration was being discussed on every inhabited planet. The results were clear and undeniable. Vexamer Prime tried to salvage the situation. These tests are unfair, he claimed. They don't represent normal usage conditions. But the crowd wasn't listening to him anymore. They had seen the truth with their own eyes. Many aliens approached Jake's table to examine the human tools more closely. Over the following weeks, everything changed. Orders for human technology poured in from across the galaxy. Alien engineers began studying human design principles. Universities started offering courses in appropriate technology based on Dr. Carter's teachings. The consortium fought back by lowering their prices and improving their reliability, but they could no longer ignore the lessons that humans had taught them. Their new products began incorporating human principles of simplicity and durability. Jake found himself appointed as the first human ambassador to the Galactic Trade Federation. His job was to help establish new standards for technology that emphasized practical value over complexity. We didn't just sell tools, he told Lisa and Paul during a celebration dinner. We changed how the entire galaxy thinks about technology. A year later, Jake stood in the same plaza where the demonstration had taken place. The marketplace looked different now. Alien merchants sold hybrid devices that combined advanced alien science with human engineering principles. The reliability problems that had plagued galactic technology for centuries were finally being solved. Dr. Zexthara approached him with a gift. It was a simple mechanical clock made by a crystalline engineer who had learned human manufacturing techniques. "This represents the future," she said. "Technology that serves people instead of impressing them." Jake wound the clock and listened to its steady ticking. The sound reminded him of home, but also of hope for the future. Humans had shown the galaxy that sometimes the best way forward was to remember the wisdom of the past. Simple could be sophisticated. Reliable could be revolutionary. And sometimes the most advanced technology was the one that simply worked.